10 minutes before 10 o'clock. How are you doing anyway? Nice looking Wednesday. Got a good book to tell you about. I know it's a little bit early to talk about mistletoe, but not really. You know what happened? When Hurricane Irma came through my neighborhood, I am not making this up, there was mistletoe all over the place. There must be a lot of mistletoe up in the trees. I'm not kidding. And so I was walking all over, just standing under it, just seeing if I'd maybe get lucky. You know, just...
And did you?
No. Nobody seems to notice.
Well, you got to carry some with you then. That's all there is to it.
Mistletoe and Murder is the name of the book that S.L. Smith has written, and she's on the phone right now. She worked for 32 years with the Minnesota State Department of Public Safety. She's a researcher, an historian, and a member of Sisters in Crime. The book Mistletoe and Murder is the fourth Pete Culnane mystery novel. S.L. Smith, I know Robin knows your first name. I don't think I know your first name.
Sharon.
Sharon. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you calling from?
Gainesville? Well, actually, Alachua.
Oh, you're right up the road.
Perfect, yes.
I had no idea you were right up the road. Well, thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak with your listeners.
So how did you do during Hurricane Irma? Did you have a lot of mistletoe in your neighborhood?
Actually, we fled. I have a nephew in Denver who made reservations and had Mom and I fly out there just so that Mom wouldn't have to cope with any of it. So.
Oh, really? Wow. You went to a really far away place. You went to Denver. Wow.
We're definitely out of the path.
So tell me before you tell me about this book, tell me who Pete Culnane is. Who's Pete?
Pete is the protagonist in all four of my books. He is an investigator or a commander with the St. Paul Police Department, and a commander in most departments would be a lieutenant.
Are you from St. Paul?
Yes. Oh. Well, actually grew up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, went to St. Paul to college, and sort of hung around after that.
Oh, wow, okay. And when did you move to Gainesville, or to the Alachua County?
3.5 years ago. I'm down here caring for my mother.
Ah, okay.
It's very fascinating that you have this book set during the Christmas season, because to some people Christmas is joyous, and to other people Christmas is not so good.
Oh, with the word murder, no, that's not good.
It happens at the strangest times.
Part of the book does talk about addictions. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? How does that play a role in this story?
The victim of the murder was a heroin addict, had gotten off the stuff, had broken the habit approximately a year before the crime happens, and it's the cause of death.
Okay, so that makes it harder to trace if she was it she or he?
She.
If she was already using a substance that eventually killed her, and a murderer decides to use that substance, it's kind of hard to figure it out.
Exactly, because the first question is, was it suicide or murder?
Let's see, it says here that she worked with, where's my notes on the State Department of Public Safety. So do some of the storylines come from actual real-life experiences that you may have been privy to?
Actually, no.
No, okay. I don't know what you do in the Department of Public Safety.
But good question. I worked for Homeland Security and Emergency Management.
Oh, okay. So
I was working with, for example, law enforcement, fire, EMS, on things such as planning for disasters when they struck, coordinating with them, coordinating their activities with each other and with counties and cities.
You've written from the perspectives of the male and the female perspectives. How difficult was that for you to get into the head of the male part?
Thankfully, one of my prime contributors, one of my prime assistants in writing the books, is a guy who was a cop for 35 years, and about 15 years of those as a police chief. And he is hugely helpful in telling me, first of all, I had hundreds of stories from him about his police days before I ever started. And second of all, I will call him and say, okay, this is what's happening. Tell me what Pete would be thinking right now.
Wow.
So,
Oh, wow.
so that's how I get into the male perspective. And the reality is, because of that, I feel more prepared, more capable of dealing with a cop who's a male than a female.
I was going to say that it's not just a male perspective, but it's a police officer's perspective in his case, which
Yes.
which plays really well into what you're trying to do. Because if you ask me the male perspective, you'd get that
right.
part, but you wouldn't have. I wouldn't be able to offer anything from a law enforcement point of view.
Right. And for that reason, I felt ill-equipped to write a female detective.
Oh, my.
Oh wow! So what drew you to writing detective stories in the first place?
First of all, I've been a voracious reader since I was a little kid, and it sort of ran in the family because my mother was likewise. And I just love mysteries. They're my favorite genre. And one day I decided, I'd like to try my hand at this. I did a lot of technical writing in my job, and I wanted to try writing a mystery, and that's sort of what brought me to this point.
I found the book on Amazon. It looks like you're getting some really good reviews, and it looks like all of your books are available on Amazon. Should we get any of the earlier books that feature Pete Culnane in order to follow him, or can we start with this one and kind of backtrack?
A lot of people ask me that, and my friends tell me that they're standalones to the point where it doesn't really matter. There are a couple of reasons to start with the first book, which is Blinded by the Sight. The reason being that that's when Pete and Martin are first partnered up. Martin Tierney is Pete Culnane's partner, and so their friendship grows. The other thing is, Pete is a widower, and in the first book, he finally starts moving on and begins dating. So, if you start at the first book, you will see as, those things develop.
Uh-huh.
It is possible, however, to start with Mistletoe and Murder, and then I would say it would sort of be like having flashbacks to go, oh, now I understand.
Right.
And the personalities of each of the characters, they really are human. When I was reading the book, you can feel some of the sadness and some of the joy, and then you've got that suspense in there.
Well, good. I'm so glad to hear that.
The first book, called Blinded by the Sight, is also getting really good reviews on Amazon. So I'm finding everything on Amazon. I have a copy of Mistletoe and Murder, so if I have a listener who would like the copy that was sent to us, just call me right now, and I'll take one call at random, and that person will get the book. The rest of us will have to go buy it. Sharon, right? That's what the S stands for, Sharon?
Yes.
Sharon, do you have a website you can direct us to of your own?
Yes, it's www.slsmithbooks.com.
Wow. So what is it like when the book actually comes out? Is it like Christmas for you? Is it like giving birth? What is it like?
When I finally finish that book and have it past the editor and sending it to publication, that's like birth. When the book comes out, that's like Christmas, because, when I get that first copy and hold it in my hands, it's like, wow, I did it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that is so neat.
Yeah, we were listening to an interview with Woody Allen, and he was saying whenever he does an interview about a new movie that just came out, it's hard for him to remember what it was about because he's already 2 movies ahead. So if we were to talk to him now about whatever's out now, he's working on one that's coming out in 2 years. So is that true for you too? Like, we're talking to you about Mistletoe and Murder. Are you currently working on another book?
I've begun thinking about it. I've written the first 3 or 4 pages about 16 times, but that's about as far as I've gotten. I've been pretty tied up with, well, first of all, once I finished the book, then it was scrambling to get it published, and then getting the publicity taken care of. And then the next thing became going to the Minnesota State Fair, which I was fortunate enough to get the time to go, and spending 12 days there talking with people and selling books. So I haven't really gotten into it yet.
Thank you for being on the air with us. So we're proud to be part of the publicity for this book. I love giving our audiences some good reading material, and this is really one of the good ones. Sharon, thank you for being on. Everybody else, S.L. Smith, that's what she goes by. slsmithbooks.com is the website, and go online to Amazon or any of them, and you'll find Mistletoe and Murder. Thank you, Sharon, for being on with us today.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA. Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump's congratulating Judge Roy Moore on his Republican Senate primary win in Alabama, tweeting he sounds like a really great guy. He's deleted his prior tweets supporting Moore's opponent, Senator Luther Strange, and Judge Moore tells Fox,
I think the people of Alabama know me and they understand what I stand for, and they'll certainly support